Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it's Monday. It's July 18th. This will be our chart lesson for the day, and a real easy day. There weren't a lot of trades today. Real slow volume. It's just a range day. You can see. Here's your overnight highs. We never even got back there. Really, your overnight lows were here. We fell below that. This was really where most of your support was, so we used that for our lows of the day. But we did go a little bit lower and bounce, and that was a low. I love these setups. This turned out to be a low of the day, even though it didn't go a long ways. You still could have gotten, if you just went to where you went into the trading range or where we broke the range here. You're looking at 54 to 6, 5 or 6 points. So still a nice move when you can catch these. But a lot of times this will be the low of the day on a big rally, and you might get 20 or 30 points out of a runner. So, but even on a day like this, you got all you could get out of it if you caught this, because even though we didn't go higher, it stayed up here all day. So you could have at least ridden it till you've gotten a congestion area. So just remember that. I love those setups. But let's back out. It's going to be really quick today. Talk about the trades. It's obvious this is a range day. Prices are, within the overnight highs and lows and not really getting outside that. The one time we did here, it breaks, it jumps right back in. You did have to be concerned about this download trend line or downhill trend line. If you drew it off this first couple and drug it down, it fits here. And so when it bounced back, you would have been ready for this. I mean, this was right when I come in the door. Perfect setup. This is what you love to see right out of the gate. And you could have caught some runners here. And the good thing about this one is it gives you a chance to double up and add on. You really need to be good at this and understand what prices are doing before you add on like this. But if you do and you're reading this property and you see this channel, this is a perfect example of one that I like to double up and add on. You enter here, it pulls back, and you get a second chance here. Just add another set on here. So, and what I do, people always ask me this. I don't explain it a lot, but when I add on, say if I didn't get out here and I add on another set here, I move my target for my first 4 ticks on this trade to the target for the first 4 ticks on this. So you get basically, depending on how much difference there is between this entry and the new entry, you get that much more added onto it. So you don't just get 4 ticks out of this. So you'll end up getting 4, almost 8 ticks probably out of your scalp off this first one. And then you add another set on here, plus you caught runners on both of them, and you ride them all the way down and exit just off this bottom. And it's a perfect trade right out of the gate, and it's not even 8 o'clock yet. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that. I love those kind of setups. So again, even if you didn't find it off these first couple, if you just drew it off these lows here and drag it up, you see it's a perfect fit. And that's what you're looking for. This is a key entry point. This really confirmed it, but this definitely confirmed it here. But this was a second entry short too. Notice the new low, pull back first entry, pull back second entry. And then you get that little trap right there. They trap the longs that don't know what's going on. They probably thought we were just headed to the other side. And you definitely don't want to be entering long right there with that trend line and that closing inside of it. So, and off it goes. Then we just kind of go sideways. I really wouldn't count that as a close outside, so I didn't look at this as having a close outside to here. I wasn't interested in going short. Really thought we might get a long setup. But I figured we would at least test this. But when it turns up right here and turns back down, that's a double test of that. That's a long trap. Just have your stop waiting right there when it comes out the other side. And even though it's in that support, with that being a trap, I like this one. You might try to use a limit order, but you probably would have got left behind. I like just taking that one because you figure you're going to get that new low. And really the overnight low, there's a gap here too. That's the other thing, reason I like this one. You see that gap? That's on the chart. And so generally those gaps get filled. And notice we filled that gap and then it reversed. And we're a good bit of weight. Look, notice we had our break of this channel, moved to a new low. It's also a failed break lower that you're probably going to see. We're a good bit away from the EMA. Big bullish bar. Just go long right there. I didn't like adding on to this one because I thought it would bounce quicker than that, but I didn't want to exit unless we maybe turned down and broke below that one. I probably would have exited there, but finally it takes off and look at it go. Boom, I mean, it just rockets out of there. You'll get a big overshoot here, but there's likely a bigger channel, which you see the bigger channel and you get a break. We tried for a new high here and then kind of sold off, and then we ended up getting a new high by the end of the day, but we just kind of went sideways, real quiet market. But anyway, we rocket up here. This thing takes off. I really was hoping it would turn down here and give you the failed second entry short and the reversal pattern, but you don't get a failed second entry short really until here. You don't want to take that, and even here it's not a very good bar. You would have worked and you would have survived, but I think you're better off to wait, and then you get that next little push down that fails and turns up. And so even though that's into those highs there, you got the bigger channel, and you figure that it's probably up here somewhere, or at least right here at that point, and so that still leaves you enough room to get out. But it turns out I think it's up here, and so I like going long right there. When you turn down that many times, couldn't even get back to the EMA, so we're still pretty strong there. And then once we start up, watch for a measured move like so. You can see that's basically exactly what we got. So that would have kept you in this trade till at least to this double top here. You don't really get a lot of chance to enter after that. I wouldn't take that first entry. You get a second entry here, and it's really a double bottom, and you really could look at it like a double test of that area, but it's still a little bit aggressive because now you're getting up here towards the overnight highs, and there's still room to get, and there's not room to get out before here. But if we were off that, if this set up right here off the trend line, I'd say take it. But here I think it's a little aggressive. It would have worked, but I just don't recommend it. And then we make a new high, pull back. There's the first entry, pull back. There's a second entry here, and again it tests those lows, and you get a little failed break lower, and you can tell that looks like a sideways. You can tell we're going sideways by now. So I like that one for a chance on a maybe retest, or at least to test this high again. It's not a perfect setup as far as a signal bar, but you can treat it like a failed break lower. So I'm going to make it green. But again, I don't think it's worth making it blue, because here's another one. Notice what happened here. We failed below again, and that's a second entry long, but not a very good signal bar, and you would have got burned there. So the same thing could have happened here. So I'm just not crazy about that setup, and you definitely don't want to take that one. This one maybe, because you get that little double bottom, and it breaks lower first and then turns up. So really, I probably should have made that one green as well. Looking at it after the fact, I probably missed that one. Another reason too is that you do have this little channel working down. That's the first break, and that's probably why I didn't really like it at the time. Because you see it did come back and make the new low before it rallied. And so you see you got this channel, this little tight channel working down. That's the first close outside, move to a new low, and then it rallies. And I really didn't like this one either, because the signal bar is no good, and by the time you get this one, it's just too big. But guess what? You come up, you make a new high, pull back first entry, pull back second entry long, and again, that's a little trading range. It's like a little failed break lower. It's a nice bullish bar on a second entry right off the EMA. You probably wouldn't have had that trend line there unless you're really good at figuring this stuff out, real experienced. But I like it just to at least to come back and test the highs, and that gives you enough room to get out. But it just kind of works on them. That got you into the 2 o'clock hour. So yeah, 9 minutes. We've been through all the trades. There just weren't a lot of them today. The ones that are here are relatively easy to spot, relatively strong trades, but there's just not many of them. So it's really quiet today. Will it stay this way for a few days? I don't know. But definitely this was a very slow volume day, low volatility, just not much happening. So not a whole lot more we can say about today. I would say we spent from 9 o'clock on within a, let's just call it 58 to 62. So, it's just 4 points there. Just not much you're going to get out of that other than a few scaps. When you start doing like this is when I say skip the runners, except for maybe on these failed break lower, because you might catch one like this. But when it's real tight like this, just scalp out and be done with it, because you're probably just going to waste a contract on a runner and give that money back. So I say skip the runners when you get real tight trading range. But when you got a big range like this, failed break, you can ride it to the other side. So still try to get you some runners on that. But when it gets tight like this, just stick to your scalping and be done with it. But yeah, that's it for today. I'm not going to beat around the bush. No sense in dragging this on. Um, just a really quiet day, not a whole lot of trades. But again, it was a fairly easy day in my opinion. And the trades that set up, several of them, I mean, you could have been done. If you caught these 3 trades, all of them had runners. These 2 and this one, I mean, really, I was almost done by 9 o'clock. I took another trade, but when you can catch that, you can be done by real quick. It doesn't, especially when you're adding on and getting a double here and getting extra out of this first one. So I love those kind of setups. So, but anyway, I'm going to wrap it up for today. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.